All right, let's go. All right, it is 6 o'clock on the dot. We will call the meeting to order and announce that there is a quorum present. At this time, if you join me for a word of prayer. Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this evening, Lord. Thank you for gathering all of us here tonight. Lord, I pray your blessings on our ability to kind of work for our city, for our community. Lord, I pray that you guide us as we continue to strive to do that in the best way possible. Lord, I thank you for our weather. It's beautiful today. The rain that we've gotten recently, Lord, you know our needs in that. Lord, I thank you for the men and women of our armed forces who protect us and serve our country and provide our opportunity to gather here in each of our little towns as we do our business. Lord, I thank you so much, especially for your Son, Christ Jesus, who died for each and every one of us, and it's in his holy name I pray. Amen. All right, if you join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right, thank y'all very much. At this time, we'll open it up for council comments. This is an opportunity for council to share with each other and the public anything they have on their thoughts, minds, hearts.
I just want to tell Jerry, thank you for all the extra work y'all been doing on the water leaks and things like that. Good job as always. Thank you. Let everybody know how much we appreciate y'all.
Yeah, thank you. I've got one thing, and I see Officer Foster back here in the back of the room today. We are going to have a special presentation from Chief Dalton here shortly, but I wanted to kind of touch on that. About 3 months ago, we had an incident out on the interstate, and Jason not only took care of just the business at hand, but he did so at great risk to himself, and that's what a public servant does in his line. So, Jason, thank you again very much for that. I'm excited to see what Chief has for you.
Thank you.
Just wanted council to know what that's about coming up. Anybody else? No? Okay, then I'll close council comments. We'll move on to public comments. This is an opportunity for the public to stand and speak. You just come to the front, be recognized. You can speak on information, you can speak on personnel matters, or cannot speak on personnel matters or matters under litigation, and you can speak for a length of time not to exceed 3 minutes. Please understand that no council or board discussion or action may take place on a matter until such matter has been placed on an agenda and posted in accordance with the law. Anyone like to speak? No speakers? Okay. Then I will close the public comments section of the meeting. We will move on to presentations. At this time, Chief Dalton. Who's got the camera?
Mayor, council members, citizens, on August the 20th of 2023 at about 2 a.m. in the morning, Officer Jason Foster responded to 911 calls in reference to a wrong-way driver on Interstate 20. The driver was traveling eastbound in the westbound lanes. Officer Foster attempted to get the vehicle stopped by driving parallel on the access road. The vehicle did not stop. Officer Foster entered the westbound lanes of Interstate 20, driving eastbound with his emergency lights activated in an attempt to warn oncoming drivers. This driver was a clear danger to other drivers on the roadway, and Officer Foster entered the westbound lanes to try to get him stopped. Officer Foster continued his pursuit all the way into Baird, where he eventually got the suspect stopped. Officer Foster contacted the driver, determined the driver was intoxicated, and Officer Foster ultimately arrested the driver on charges of driving while intoxicated, evading detention, and unlawful carrying a weapon after a handgun was found inside the vehicle. The Clyde Police Department Commendation Bar is to be awarded to an officer for outstanding performance involving great risk to the officer's personal safety while performing their duties. Officer Foster's commitment to service to his community during this hazardous and complicated situation was clearly demonstrated by his actions. Officer Foster placed himself in harm's way to warn innocent motorists and to ultimately save lives. Officer Foster demonstrated what it means to be a public servant, and his conduct is an example of what all officers should strive to imitate. So in recognition of Officer Foster's actions during this incident, he is hereby awarded the Clyde Police Department Commendation Bar.
Very good.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you, sir. Thanks, Chief. That's awesome. Great representation and great job. At this time, we will move to 7.0, our consent agenda. 7.1 is to consider and act upon approving minutes from the regular meeting of September 12th, 2023 as printed. Council's had an opportunity to look that over. You have anything? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the regular meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of September the 12th, 2023.
Second.
I'd have a motion by Councilman Rector, seconded by Councilwoman Kaufman to approve the minutes as written. All those in favor? Passes unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to 8.1. This is a notice of public hearing. Request is for an amendment to the zoning ordinance to allow tiny homes in MH2 zoned areas. This would be manufactured home parks and RV parks, so tiny homes could be placed in each of these zoning districts. The public hearing will be held at Clyde City Hall tonight at this time. So this is an opportunity for anyone in the public that has thoughts, questions about this to stand. All you need to do is come before the podium, announce your name and address for the record, and you can speak publicly.
Hey guys, Sunshine Petrus, 101 North Hayes Road, Clyde, Texas.
Very good. Yes, ma'am.
We are just asking for this change so that we can allow the tiny homes in the RV zoned areas, mainly on behalf of Mr. Armstrong, who is the new property owner there, who is wanting to kind of revamp that. There's a huge need for affordable housing in this area, and so he's wanting to kind of do a little revamp of that area to include some of our tiny homes, and at this time, that isn't an option for us. And then Buck may want to speak on that as well and talk a little bit about what those plans are.
Okay. Okay, great. Yes, sir.
Sunshine, how do you spell your last name? P-E-T?
Petreus.
R-U-S, no E.
No E. Petrus, which is better than me calling her Petraeus all this time, so sorry about that.
That's okay.
Mayor, council members, citizens of Clyde. My name is Buck Armstrong. I'm from Austin, Texas, so I don't have a direct representation in this fine city, but I am the owner of Gentle Breeze and Three Oaks Mobile Home Community. I have been the owner since April of 2022, and it has been an amazing asset to own, and it has really been a privilege to be a part of this community indirectly. When I first heard about this potential amendment to the zoning ordinance, I jumped all over it, partially because I have seen firsthand since taking over the need for affordable housing options in this city. And speaking as someone who lives in Austin, as you guys can imagine, this is something that is even more pertinent and more out of whack. And so I just don't want to see any city to ever get to the level of cost of living that it is in my city. So when I heard about this, I immediately reached out to Sunshine and Matt, as I thought it would be a great opportunity to partner with a local builder as well, because having the mobile home park and the RV park has given me a unique perspective, as we have been able to maintain 100% occupancy on our mobile homes. We own a majority of those and just rent those out as it were an apartment building. Whereas on the RV side, a little bit different, obviously, since the resident themselves owns the vehicle. Now, as you guys are probably well aware, there's been plenty of new RV parks built along I-20, and that's no longer really a need. So I've seen, in the last 3-4 months, the wait list for people looking for one-bedroom homes going to 20 people tops. My managers, Justin and Shannon, who you guys probably know, they usually field the calls. It's gotten so bad that I get probably 3-4 calls a day for people looking for one-bedroom, two-bedroom options. And so if you were to amend this, I would be incentivized to convert some of my RV lots into tiny homes and start offering additional affordable rental options in the city, since we no longer would be beholden to those showing up with their own RV rigs. So I personally believe it's a huge need to help solve the affordability crisis in this country, and I've seen it just firsthand operating in these parks for the last year or so. So just wanted to voice my support for this potential amendment, and would be really excited to see it pass, so.
Very good.
Pleasure.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. It's good information. Council, have any questions either?
Public hearing.
Sorry, I had not looked up yet. Yes, ma'am. Same thing. Yes,
525 South First Street West, Clyde, Texas.
yes.
Okay, I guess question would be, is this gonna be limited to just the existing mobile home parks, or is this something that's gonna be new addition to?
Yeah, no, this is requesting just for the homes, just for the home parks that are already zoned,
As
mobile home parks.
MH2?
This is
Is-
not saying that they'll go somewhere else that's not already MH2.
Because I know originally that was enforced or changed or added because there was people putting small, like Morgan buildings and making them tiny
Mhm, yeah.
homes on their lots in their
Right.
home.
That's why we created the
Right.
tiny homes ordinance, which the ordinance is still in effect. That doesn't change it. This doesn't change that ordinance at all in any way. This is just changing the zoning of what is already a mobile home park, so.
Okay, so, but I guess if they're already a mobile home or a trailer park, what is that gonna add to or change if it's now tiny homes versus a mobile home? Is that gonna add to more, as far as having to put in water, sewer, or whatever, or is that going over existing
Yeah,
whatever
that all
hookup?
operates the same on that, so, I mean, you're not gonna, wouldn't need new, depending on, I guess, if we built a whole new, mobile home park at some point maybe, but again,
Right.
there's all, that's already inside ordinances and set up and established, so.
And I'm just trying to see where why it is there's need to change then if that wasn't already allocated for mobile homes / trailers then. If you had it there for previously, why would there need to be a change or why to add the tiny homes into even a mobile home park? And, obviously it was already existing the way it is, so there was a reason for making it that way, what is the
Well,
purpose
at
of
the time
changing
that
it?
we created mobile home parks, tiny homes weren't what they are now. I mean, mobile home parks have been around for, my gosh,
Right.
I'm not even sure how long. But certainly longer than what tiny homes are. Now we have established tiny homes as, well, we
Something
have
under
our
500 square feet.
deal, 560
square feet.
560 square feet. So, and do we have a minimum requirement of square footage on mobile homes in any of our parks? I don't think we do. So this would just be bringing something that didn't exist at the time up to allow tiny homes, because now we have established what a tiny home is or can be with a
So
square
basically-
footage.
This would allow for them to be under 560 square foot.
This would allow a tiny home of 560 square feet to go into that mobile home park.
But nothing,
Nothing smaller.
okay, because if you're
Unless I'm
changing,
wrong on that, I
if you're
mean, we've
changing the rule, that
established-
sounds like you're allowing for something to be less than 560. Because the rule was there for, like you say, the purpose of not having people throw up a Morgan building and make it a home,
Yeah.
especially on their private property or expanding their properties and so on.
Again, we have established what a
Right.
tiny home is.
Right,
So,
so
and so,
is that gonna change it now to say that can be smaller than 560
No.
at this point?
no, that is not something that we
Bigger than 560 something square feet.
Do what?
What is the average size?
So I was under the impression that the tiny home definition is 400 square feet. That's just the definition for recreational vehicle. Anything less than 400 square feet is considered a recreational vehicle. So in the market, if you say tiny home, anything is less than 400. But for 560, that is still below average for a single wide. A traditional single wide mobile home is probably 850, 900 square feet. Nothing smaller than that
Well, we do have established, city ordinance stating that,
for 560.
yeah, for
Yep.
560, so,
It's
Yes.
more attractive just because it's 160 extra square feet.
Yeah.
Little more room.
Exactly. You can
so,
double room.
So, like, that's
so
what
again,
I'm like,
it's
yeah,
not
how
changing
that's-
the ordinance dictating what, or,
Okay.
you know, establishing what a tiny home is. It's just
Right.
establishing that tiny homes can go into
A mobile home.
MH2, yeah.
But that, yeah, I guess at some point, when it originated, y'all had that there for a reason, that's kinda why I'm
Well, it
curious why
was
we're
there
changing
to keep people
it.
from
So,
putting a tiny home up in their front yard.
So
Right.
current zoning, as of today, unless council makes a decision tonight to change, a tiny home can go in a single-family two residential district right now. There's no stopping it. That's how the current, the current ordinance in the zoning is written. All this will do is add mobile home, MH1, MH2. So we're not taking away, or we're not adding to anything other than opening up two districts that already have manufactured homes or recreational vehicles as an RV, just allowing another option of a similar sized square
Right.
footage.
Right, and I thought that's what all these developments and other homes and stuff were gonna establish smaller, I don't know what square footage, but homes for people to be able to move out in here with all the other current building stuff going
Yeah, but a
on.
lot of that will be for
Those-
purchase,
those are
for
permanent.
sale, yeah.
Those are
Right.
permanent homes, they're not rental opportunities. This opens up an opportunity for rental properties that don't exist, and there's a huge demand right now for rental property.
So that's not gonna change the demand for the water and other stuff as far as I
Because the
know?
utilities are already in those areas.
It's not gonna increase the demand as far as, or change that up?
It has the potential to,
Okay, well,
But not to the point that we can't handle that. I mean, you're asking, is it going to put us into a detrimental state where we can't?
well, I know we have drought conditions and so on at
Sure.
times,
Yeah,
and,
but-
I mean, it's probably more than what it is now. It would increase it, correct, if you're going from what it currently is to, you know,
well, if
Our
you
Yeah.
drought conditions are.
I mean, and adding the square footage for these homes in order, making these small,
I mean, there's like
Tiny
20
homes.
there's 20 RV spots right now that already have water and
So-
sewer.
right, but I meant as far as,
well, those
well,
RV
it's
spots
gonna
are
be a
gonna,
little different.
if I understood correctly, the intent is to remove RV spaces to put tiny homes
Correct.
on, so there is no impact. because-
That's not gonna change the usage?
No, the water and sewer is already there, and the
Right,
the
right.
tiny homes are smaller than what the RVs are.
Okay, cause I wouldn't, it seems to me RVs would use, I would assume
Well,
less than.
It's
a
not
home.
the size of the
Or-
house
Right,
that creates or
well, it's the amount of people, yeah,
establishes
it's the
the
amount of
usage.
people,
It's the people. I mean, if you go
Right.
in there and leave your faucet running, and
right, or if
so-
you have five
so
people
again, it's-
living in
It's
a,
the people, so.
5 people versus 2.
I don't know, 5 people
Well.
don't take showers, and you got a people with 2 people in a house, and they take 2 showers a day, then they outshower the 5 people. Again, that's
Right.
gonna be a personal,
Right.
deal. It's not gonna be the size of the home that dictates that, so.
Water consumption is variable. I mean, we do know that almost 80%, a little over 80% of the residents right now use between 1,000 and 5,000 gallons a month. Then there's a smaller tier, I think there was another 10 to 12% that used, and then there was a very small percentage that were using more than 10,000 gallons a month. So it would fall right into the vast majority of the people that are already using that band of 1 to 5,000 gallons of water a month, so.
Right, well, like I say, I don't know what the difference is of, we had it in place and why
Well, what we were trying to do is not have, like you said, people put down Butler buildings and things like that inside residential neighborhoods and drive
I
down.
thought that already was covered by this tiny home law.
Well, that was the reason for the original tiny home, was we were trying not to devalue property values in single-family one residence zone neighborhoods. Now, nobody would want with a $300,000 house to have your neighbor with a house that was
Right.
driving down the property values.
But
This is
wasn't that-
already in an area where there's no material impact on the values, it's already.
So this is only gonna apply to the RV areas and
MH1 and
nothing else?
MH2.
Because I know the tiny home, as far as my understanding of it was, it covered
Only single-family two.
residential.
SF2,
anyway.
single-family two was the only place currently under the tiny home that a tiny home could be is in the single-family two zoned areas. And it had to be more than 560 square feet.
Right,
So this does not impact property values, this does not impact any of the other adjacent property owners. You know, we're not driving down values, we're actually creating more value by allowing this. And we're solving a housing problem, which from the city's perspective is the most important piece, is opening up affordable housing and rental opportunities that don't exist. Because people call City Hall on a daily basis, looking to see if there's rental properties available. And the minute a property comes on the market here or is available for rent, they're snatched up immediately. So this fills a segment that we have a delta in and not impacting anybody else and creating, an area where we're driving down a homeowner's value.
And I think that where part of your concern may be is the fact that, like, in his instance of having Gentle Breeze RV lot, currently, we wouldn't put a tiny home in an RV lot.
right.
This will change that and allow that to take place. So the main thing that's affecting here is allowing tiny homes into somewhere where they weren't allowed before. Not changing it to, going back and basically going against what we did when we put the ordinance in place several years ago, where we said basically you're not gonna put a tiny home. We had one right out the back door, we
Right.
had one right around the corner, so, this doesn't change that, but it allots something that at that time, there wasn't a need of.
Right.
Now we see the need of it, and actually, again, I agree with what Chris said, I think that it better serves our community. Instead of having an RV, which would be more likely to move in and out,
Right.
to have a tiny home that is a rental property that hopefully, as we grow, people who just choose to rent over buy at this time will have long-term rental properties, so. But again, this just closes, this allows us to have it where we weren't allowing it before, but not changing the intent of why we put that ordinance in place. I don't know if that helps or not.
Well, like I say, I know, everything was kinda, I guess at one point in time, figured this was what worked best and or,
It did
and I
at the
didn't know
time.
if that also related to the fact that one can be moved in or out versus permanent.
Again, now we see another option, another opportunity where to place them that does not go against what we created the ordinance for to begin with.
Cause I know even with RVs, personal, y'all have a, I guess, 30-day or some kind of limit as far as how long somebody can be in one.
Well, basically,
And a
they can be
resident
in
or
one as
something
long
like
as they
that.
can afford it. Cause it doubles, it doubles every month,
Cause I thought we had an ordinance that said you can't be
30 days, and then
living in
after
one.
that,
Yeah.
it'll double,
30
and after
days.
that, I don't know
That's
anybody.
an RV living on a
Yeah,
property,
re-
not
residence,
not in a RV park, designated
Right,
RV.
right.
Not in
Well,
an
that's-
RV park, no,
yeah,
not in an
right.
RV park, just at your house.
Resident.
So, yeah, and we do have that.
Right, well,
Again.
that's what I was gonna say,
Yeah, and
I
that's
knew
what I
it was
mean. If
residents, I know
somebody
we have
was-
that ordinance for anybody having somebody
Yeah.
stay more than 30 days in it
Exactly.
outside their residence.
Yeah, exactly. So-
Right, so I know it's kind of varying things here, kind of one.
Well, that's different from.
And I know an RV park is different,
Yeah,
people do lease or whatever, month to month, or
Yeah.
however many days,
Yeah.
and I don't know what the longevity or what the average is on how long they stay either. Or if some parks say not more than so many months or whatever, because they wanna be able to turn it
Yeah,
turn it
sure.
over.
Well, and And now that goes different from where we were originally
right,
talking,
right.
so we're still
Yeah, yeah.
on the tiny home, or was there something else that we could
No.
help you with on that
No,
part?
no,
Okay.
it's pretty, like I say, I was just kinda curious
No,
where
that's
that
good,
would,
it's good.
where the ordinance would fall in the
Yeah.
square footage and how that,
Good questions, help us get out good information, so thank you, I appreciate the question.
okay,
All right, thanks, Ms. White.
you're welcome.
Okay, so we're still in public hearing, is there anyone else that would like to speak on anything?
Good evening. My name is Cynthia Alvidrez. I don't live here. I'm from Abilene, Texas. I wasn't going to say anything, but I'm kind of interested in the tiny homes. There was
I'm sorry, could you say your name again?
Cynthia,
Cynthia Alvidrez, ALV is in Victor, ID is in Delta, REZ is in Zulu.
Okay,
I'm
thank you.
not Abilene. Affordable housing. So a couple questions I had when that particular term was mentioned is what exactly will the monthly rent amount be? Do you guys know, have maybe like an estimate? Does the builder know?
we could ask.
I can speak to our existing one-bedroom units are in the $650 to $700 range, and those include all bills paid for the one-bedrooms.
Okay, and about how many homes?
Of the one-bedrooms or in total?
In total, and then can you break it down?
We have 25 home rental options, I would say, of which 5 are one-bedrooms. The rest are 2s and 3s.
Okay, and will these be HUD approved?
Will the tiny homes be HUD approved?
Yes, sir.
They are not HUD compliant.
They're not HUD compliant. Is there a possibility for that?
It is based on Texas building codes for tiny homes. You do not receive a HUD seal. That's only for the mobile home community, mobile home.
So that's like impossible.
Correct.
Okay.
It's just a different product.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
They
Thank you, ma'am.
actually exceed even national framing codes. They're far above even traditional built homes.
Awesome.
It's not typical, but
I'm
that's
just
how
curious
we
why
do
they
it.
couldn't be HUD approved, just because.
Because it's a different type.
Yeah, just different product type,
Oh, interesting. Okay, thank you.
of course.
All right, anyone else like to speak or have questions? Okay, seeing no other citizens' comments, we will close the public hearing section. We'll move on to 9.0. This is our regular agenda. This is our oaths of office for elected council members. Ms. Thornton?
Okay. We did not have to have an election this year. We only had 3 vacancies and only 3 people signed up. So, congratulations. I need to administer y'all's oaths and your statement of an elected official, if y'all will join me down here.
Don't throw your pen down like that, Paul. You're the one that signed up. You want to be here.
Yes. I think it's Rhonda up there. Raise your right hand. I. Say your name. Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of whatever your office is
of mayor
for the city of Clyde,
for the city of Clyde,
Callahan County,
Callahan County,
and the state of Texas,
and the state of Texas,
and will to the best of my ability
and will to the best of my ability
preserve,
preserve,
protect,
protect,
and defend
and defend
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and of this state,
and of this state.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Okay? I state your name.
I, Paul White,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I have not directly
that I have not directly
or indirectly
or indirectly
paid,
paid,
offered,
offered,
promised to pay,
promised to pay,
contributed,
contributed,
or promised to contribute
or promised to contribute
any money
any money
or thing of value,
or thing of value,
or promised
or promised
any public office
any public office
or employment
or employment
as a reward
as a reward
to secure my appointment
to secure my appointment
or confirmation,
or confirmation,
whichever the case may be,
whichever the case may be.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
2 more years. Y'all gotta put
I'll
up
just
with
get y'all to
this.
sign these later.
Thank you, Ms. Thornton. Thank you, Mr. White. Thank you, Mr. McGuire, for being willing to serve again to your community for another 2-year term. Thank y'all. Okay, now we'll move on to 9.2, to just consider with possible action appointing a mayor pro tem. I'll just throw it out there that Paul's done a great job. I don't see any reason to change it.
I'll make a motion
Okay.
for Paul McGuire to be mayor pro tem.
Second.
A motion by Councilman White, seconded by Councilwoman Kaufman for Paul McGuire to continue on as mayor pro tem. Any consideration, thoughts, comments? If not, all those in favor? Passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Councilman McGuire, for doing that. All right, moving on to 9.3, consider and act upon approving an ordinance of the City of Clyde, Texas, amending Exhibit 14A zoning ordinance of the Clyde Code of Ordinance by amending Section 7.01 uses to allow tiny homes in the Manufactured Home Park District MH2, providing severability and repealer clauses, and providing for an effective date. Mr. McGuire?
So, Mr. Mayor, council, citizens, as previously, as previously discussed in the public hearing, there really is a market segment need here in the city of Clyde for alternative, affordable housing options. We've conferred with the city attorney. There are no negative impacts if council approves this ordinance, and it does align with your priorities about creating more affordable housing options and rental options that we know are required here in the city of Clyde. So it's the staff's recommendation that council approve the ordinance.
These tiny homes, are they gonna be similar to the ones that we have out at the lake?
Similar,
Okay.
yes. And you said earlier, all bills paid?
That's the idea, yes, sir.
And that would probably be in different sections, probably like in an area that you have already established where you're at kinda right now, but.
Correct. Particularly just for the RV parks, just because how it's metered currently, and
Exactly.
it just makes it so much easier to do an all bills paid
Yeah.
scenario for the tiny homes.
So water consumption per tiny home versus RV, of course, it's gonna be different. Are we gonna meter each tiny home site, or is there one meter that,
No, the meter would be on each home.
okay, and is the city responsible for that cost per site?
No,
Okay. Kind of figured that, gotcha.
Okay, good
no, and
question.
then, as we previously said in the public hearing part, water usage, it's kind of hard to gauge because you could have 2 residents use more water than a family of 4.
Right.
But over 80% of water usage falls in that 1 to 5,000 gallon range on a monthly basis. We went back yesterday and looked at all the historical data on that, and it's completely supported. So this will have no impact on water, this will have no impact. And then essentially what it does is it'll actually add to the property tax base, because now you have a permanent fixed structure that hits the tax rolls, where an RV, that's a transit vehicle, does not.
Right. Good stuff.
Good.
Thank you.
So the MH2, is that for manufactured home and RVs, or?
Yeah, MH1, MH2 are the 2 zoning classifications where right now,
So-
if you approve, we could put the tiny homes in the manufactured home districts. Those are the 2 districts that we have in the city on the zoning classification.
Okay, so, yeah, because we only got one listed at,
Yeah, this just says
So on the ordinance, you can see you have a table, and it shows currently allowed, tiny homes are, currently allowed in single-family 2. And this would amend it to allow in manufactured home 1 and manufactured home 2.
In the actual amendment, not just our notes up here.
Because they have the X's under them.
Yes,
okay,
that designates the appropriate zoning district.
I didn't see that, I was just reading the top parts.
This is there, MH2.
Council, have any other thoughts or questions?
I have a thought, if,
Yes.
I mean, tiny homes can be absolutely beautiful. Just beautiful. And, when the costs are, when the spaces on the inside are smaller, that in itself encourages more outside living. And if you're gonna be outside, we all want it, usually, I say we all, there's no such. But, most of us appreciate a beautiful aesthetic. So, I think it's a plus,
Yeah.
just saying.
Yeah, good comment, yes. Other questions, thoughts, council?
I'd rather stay in a tiny home than a little RV.
Yeah.
Right?
All right, then at this time, I'd entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we approve the ordinance for allowing tiny homes in MH2.
Second.
And in H1. All right. I had a second, I had 2 seconds, so you got it? Second by, have a motion by Councilman McGuire, seconded by Councilman Rector. Any other discussion?
Just clarification that it's MH1 and 2.
Yes.
That's correct.
Yes.
And it does not change the current classification for single-family too.
Okay.
All those in favor? That passes unanimously, thank you. Okay, moving on to 9.5. See, that's why I hesitated, I knew that. Consider and act upon adopting a resolution of the City Council of the City of Clyde, Texas, contracting with Clyde Journal for publication by ordinances and other notices as required by applicable law. Mr. McGuire?
So, Mr. Mayor, council, citizens, we are required by state law to appoint a publication of record. We have used the Clyde Journal for a number of years, and we've had no issues with them meeting our publication requirements. So therefore, it's the staff's recommendation that City Council appoint Clyde Journal as our official publication of record.
Council have any comments or thoughts? Not, I'd entertain the motion.
I move to appoint Clyde Journal as the city's publication of record for posting information required by state law.
I have a motion by Councilwoman Kaufman, seconded by Councilman Martin. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Passes unanimously, thank you. Now, 9.5, consider possible action accepting the petition to close off alley behind Wise Street. Mr. McGuire?
Actually, it's me,
Ms. Thornton?
Ms. Thornton. I have an affidavit that was filed at my office from Councilman White and Councilman Rector. Yes, we're on the right one, right?
I don't know.
Yes. I have an affidavit that was filed with my office concerning this property, the alley. Is it- We're on that one, right?
Yeah, we
Okay.
are, yes, you're right.
And I also have the petition requesting the alley closure from Councilman Martin and Councilman White. So I had to let you know that before this continued.
Very good. Mr. McGuire?
So,
Yeah, anything? Yes.
no, so there's a petition to abandon a section of the alley off of Wise Street. The rationale behind it was with the school changing traffic flows for security concerns and their new security fencing requirements that the state mandated. It's causing foot traffic through the property. If we abandon the alley, there's no impact to the city. We've consulted with the city attorney on this. And as the alley gets closed, we would have the ability in the case of emergency or to get to utilities to be able to access the alley. So after conferring with Mr. Davis's office and then with the city attorney, it's the recommendation that the city should accept this petition.
Council have any thoughts or questions? We think that they would need to abstain from voting
Yeah.
So with that in mind, Councilman McGuire, Councilman Rector, and Councilwoman Coughlin, I would entertain a motion to accept the petition.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
I have a motion by Councilman Rector, seconded by Councilwoman Kaufman to accept the petition as it is. The three of y'all, all in favor? That passes unanimously. Thank you. So, 3 yes and 2 abstain. All right, moving on to 8.6 is consider an act upon approving a service agreement between the EDC and Ranchland Specialties. Mr. McGuire?
So, Mr. Mayor, council, citizens, a service agreement between the Economic Development Corporation and Ranchland Specialties, and then the 9/7, the resolution. This is a good news story for businesses here in Clyde. Ranchland Specialties has been in business for about 9 years now, and they've continued to grow. They had approached the EDC about a year ago, looking for some financial assistance. The EDC board met with them, looked at their financials, and gave them some guidance. They've took the guidance, they came back, they've increased their net revenue by 100%. And now they're in a position that they are going, or that they just purchased a $275,000 wet jet cutting table. Currently, there's only one in the region located in Abilene, and that business is going to close by the end of the year. So Ranchland Specialties now is going to have the ability to pick up that existing business and all their new business. This is a state-of-the-art cutting table, all computer-driven, only enhance their business. So they've laid out the money out of pocket themselves to do the $275,000 to purchase the piece of equipment. They've also added employees to their business, and now with this new piece of equipment, they're going to be able to expand their business operations. They've also applied for and received a building permit to construct a 2,500 square foot addition to their existing manufacturing building. So they can clear space in the shop room floor to put this new piece of equipment, and then to put equipment outside in the new construction area. The performance agreement, they've asked for $30,000 from the Economic Development Corporation. It was unanimously approved by the EDC board at last Monday's meeting. The performance agreement stipulates that over the course of the next 10 years, Ranchland Specialties will add $30,000 in sales tax revenue back to the city. So that is the agreement. At any point that they contribute $30,000 in sales tax revenue back to the city prior to the 10 years, the agreement's considered satisfied and over with. And both Blake and Mike have agreed to those terms. And the EDC is very happy to get behind and support helping grow a business. In the economic development world, business retention and expansion is the most cost-effective use of the EDC dollars to nurture and grow existing businesses versus trying to spend money to attract new businesses to come in. So it's our recommendation that you approve the service agreement, and it'll be our recommendation as the EDC board and as the city staff that you approve the follow-on resolution. And if you approve the agreement and the follow-on resolution, the official notification has been placed in the Clyde Journal. We have 60 days of it's out, so that it's public notice that the EDC intends to fund this business opportunity for Ranchland Specialties. This will come back up on the city council agenda in December, where there'll be a final vote and the final hearing on that, and if approved, the EDC will fund the project.
Very good, thank you. Council have any questions, Mr. McGuire, about this?
I agree that it's a good news story, and that, and I appreciate the detail of the history and the envisioned future. And so it's just very well laid out, and the expectations are totally attainable from what I can see here.
Yeah, and so on the EDC board, you have a number of business owners and you have a certified public accountant. So the books were examined, we personally went over and met with them and we examined their whole business operation. And everybody's concurrence was that they have a very sound business plan, they have a sound business model. One thing else to note is they, in conjunction with the school district, have worked very hard in the welding program. So the Clyde ISD has students in a welding program as part of Baird's ISD's welding program. What they have offered to do, and they've reached out to both the programs, is to mentor students that are in the welding program. Mike, one of the business partners, is actually a certified welding instructor and can sign off. And they are working with the schools to do internships, to have people come out of the welding programs to work and actually fabricate and learn the skills that you're not getting in a basic welding program, and then Mike will be able to certify them. So we're creating an opportunity now, not only for a business to expand, but now we're creating an opportunity for 2 different school districts to have a trade program where students are graduating with a truly marketable skill that will be able to go right into the workforce and work on aluminum, work on MIG and TIG welding and arc welding, things above the basics that they get in a program. And they'll actually work in an operating fabricating shop. So I thought that's really, that you needed to know that as well, that
Yes. And without student debt.
without student debt.
Very nice. Very nice.
So,
Cal- yes.
on the $30,000 sales tax deposit, that's just 30,000 flat, that's not a 30,000 increase from our current level?
It's that their revenue increases 30,000, that their contribution of their sales tax hits the 30,000 threshold over the course of 10 years. So with their revenue and with looking at all the contracts that they just signed, they will obtain that $30,000 increase in sales tax coming back to the city far before 10 years is up.
But that's like right now, they're bringing in this
This,
much.
and now they're gonna add an additional 30 to their baseline.
Okay.
Any other thoughts or questions? Well, then I would entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the service agreement between EDC and Ranchland Specialties.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Martin, seconded by Councilman McGuire to approve the service agreement. Any other discussion? All those in favor? That passes unanimously, thank you. Moving on to 9.7, this is to consider and act upon adopting a resolution of the City of Clyde, Texas, authorizing the Clyde Economic Development Corporation to undertake a project to provide a grant of $30,000 to Rangeland Specialties LLC to expand its business at 810 Cherry Lane, Clyde, Texas 79510. Mr. McGuire.
So again, as I previously stated, this is the second follow-on action that's required by resolution. And we've already started, the publication went out this week, so the 60-day will start to coincide, or it started last week. So it coincides with this council meeting for the first reading and the second council, the December council meeting for the second. And it's the intent of the EDC, if council approves the resolution and approves the second reading, that the EDC will fund, fund the project on the Wednesday after the December council meeting.
Very good, and good work on y'all's behalf to get this in at that time. Council, unless you have any other new questions concerning this, is just a wrap-up of what we just talked about, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we consider and act upon the resolution approving the EDC's project funding for ranch land specialty.
I second.
Have a motion by Councilman Rector, seconded by Councilman Martin. Any other discussion? All those in favor? That passes unanimously. Thank y'all. Okay, moving on to 9.8, consider and act upon adopting a resolution setting public hearings on the proposed annexation of Interstate 20 adjacent to current city limits by the City of Clyde, Texas, and authorizing and directing the city secretary to publish notice of same. Mr. McGuire.
So, Mr. Mayor, council, citizens, there was a change to section 43.055 of the Texas Local Government Code, and it now allows cities to annex the roadways, right-of-ways that are contiguous to the city's boundaries and are parallel to the city's boundaries or connect one part of the city's boundaries. So what we intend to publish notice is that we intend to annex 3.4 miles of Interstate 20 right-of-way. And then the section in the abstracts are BB and C Railroad Company Survey in Callahan County, Texas, Section 53, Abstract 30, Section 60, Abstract 1699, 1882, and Section 61, Abstract 34, Section 66, Abstract 1494, and Section 75 and Abstract 87. We are already providing emergency response, we are already providing traffic enforcement, we already have easements running up and down the 3.4 miles of interstate that goes and transects the city. There's been no pushback from TxDOT to move forward with this. So if you adopt the resolution tonight, that'll allow the city secretary to publish notice and for us to move forward.
About where is this gonna go from milepost marker?
City limit, the length of the city limits on the interstate.
City limits.
It takes in the whole city limits, because the interstate bisects the city. And then this just officially brings the interstate in. And like I said, we are already,
We've had the right-of-way stuff, but now
this officially takes that piece of property and puts it inside city limits, right? Because we're already doing the emergency response and the police department is already doing traffic enforcement on the interstate. This codifies what we're doing and squares the circle, for lack of a better term, of defining the city limits. And it has no impact. It does cost no property tax increases. There's no impact to the citizens. This is just TxDOT saying that, yes, this piece of roadway is inside existing city limits, and built for the annexation.
And I guess the only thing at that point there would be questions of is that it's still TxDOT's road.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So we
And they still
absolutely
maintain
still
the
take
road. We
no
we have no
responsibility.
responsibility because it is an interstate and it falls under their purview. So it does not cost the city anything, just clarifies the city limits.
Very good.
Because there's questions on that on a regular basis about, is the interstate inside city limits?
Accidents and things like that are out there that the EMS works, that will come under the city of Clyde.
It's still,
And it's always been that way.
It's always been that way.
It's not gonna revert to the county or.
no, it doesn't change anything.
It's always been that
It's
way.
always been that way.
Got it.
And it has no impact to the police department's STEP program for traffic enforcement. It just, it cleans up a loophole that was in the Texas Local Government Code. In this last legislative session, the legislature approved closing this and allowing the cities to do this.
Very good. Council have any other thoughts or questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
Make a motion, we approve the resolution to annex the 3.4 miles of the interstate to the city limits.
A second.
We have a motion by Councilman McGuire, seconded by Councilman Martin to approve the resolution. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Passes unanimously. Thank you. 9.9. Consider and act upon joining as a plaintiff in Grand Prairie versus State of Texas and authorizing our attorneys, Messer Fort PLLC, to act on the city's behalf. Mr. McGuire?
So, Mr. Mayor, council, citizens, in October, specifically on October 25th, the city of Grand Prairie filed a lawsuit in Travis County seeking to declare SB 2038 unconstitutional. SB 2308 went into effect on September 1st, 2023. It was a piece of legislation out of the last legislative session. In what it has to do, it authorizes, it has to do with the city's ability to maintain its ETJ. And this creates negative impacts for that. After conferring with the city attorney, there is, the legal premise and the argument is that SB 2038 violates the separation of powers doctrine of the Texas Constitution. Delegating legislative decisions to private property owners, and that violates the due course of law. So it's been the recommendation by city attorney that the city of Clyde join as a plaintiff along with other cities across the state of Texas.
There's gonna be more cities probably.
Oh, there's far more cities that are on. It's just Grand Prairie was the one that initiated the lawsuit, and now all the cities are coming on. No, I don't want to say all,
So
but
they won't
most
have
cities are coming on.
150,000, well, not. that
Yes,
many,
separate
but-
legal arguments
Exactly.
about extraterritorial jurisdiction. This will go to the Texas Supreme Court.
Right.
So this just authorizes Messer and Fort to act on our behalf to protect our rights.
Very good. Council have any thoughts or questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we join in with Grand Prairie and on this, legislation or this suit.
All right. Have a motion by Councilman Rector, seconded by Councilman White. Any other discussion? All those in favor? That passes unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to 10.0, this is executive session where we will convene in closed meeting pursuant to provisions of Chapter 551 Government Code, Vernon's Texas Code, to annotate in accordance with the authorities contained in for consultation with attorney. What that means for the public is you're free to go. You're more than welcome to stick around. We will be going into closed session. We will be there for a little bit. We'll come back out. If there's any action to take, we'll come back into open session and we'll take any action needed. Yes, sir.
Just curiosity, after these closing sections, if you guys were available, because I do have some questions, and I wasn't certain as to where it would fall in the category of the meeting that we had, and I didn't want to be impromptu and just bring it up for.
Yeah, couple of things. If it's anything, I mean, you are certainly welcome to stick around. If it's just questions in general that you have, or you have a specific thing, if you wanna come by tomorrow and meet with Mr. McGuire, he can probably sit down with you or myself or our city secretary, at a different time if you wanna come in a setting like that.
Yeah, well, I guess that's fine, come tomorrow. I just thought it would be more convenient with you guys after the meeting, that's all.
Well, after the meeting closes, then it'll be closed.
Right.
Council will have to separate, because then, if not, we're in violations of Open Meetings Act there. So we couldn't at that point kinda all sit around and talk. You could certainly talk to any council member or any one or two council members at any time. But I think, not knowing exactly where you're going, you might be better served to, if you could, to come back in the morning and meet with Mr. McGuire, or like I say, myself, or any one of us at any time. Certainly you could hang around till afterwards. We could give you some business cards. You could have our numbers and emails and stuff like that. So in any way we can help you, we certainly want to. We'll need to make sure that we do it within the realm of the way we're authorized to work.
No, I understand. That's why I wanted to leave it after, and obviously.
Sure.
that's sort of the point. Thank you, thank you.
Okay, yes, sir.
Good question.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well then with that, we are now in closed session.